Hi everyone, my name is Emma, and today I'm going to be talking about MAND sign language, which is an augmentative and alternative communication strategy. As some of you may know, part of having a diagnosis with autism includes a language deficit that impacts that individual's quality of life. It can affect pretty much every area: the ability to learn, the ability to make requests for our most basic needs, build social relationships. That is all about communication, being able to have conversations, gain employment when that individual becomes an adult. And it also limits their independence. They will always need someone to rely on if they don't develop those communication skills. That's why it's so important to choose the right communication strategy to teach functional language for a client. So I'm going to talk about sign language. Sign language is where we see one of the first forms of augmentative and alternative communication in the 1970s. Sign language is beneficial for a client who is nonverbal or has very limited language. There are several reasons as to why a clinician may choose sign language for a client. First, it is easier to prompt an action instead of a vocalization. The clinician can use manual prompts to teach the child to make the sign. So if you were teaching a client to say bathroom, trying to physically and manually prompt their mouth to create that vocalization would be challenging. But if you're teaching them to make a sign with their hand, that would be a little more doable to use manual prompts and be more successful. Also, sign language is iconic. There's a direct representation of the sign and what the item or action may be. The clinician should say the word and the sign at the same time to make that association clear. If the child develops this association between the sign and the word, they're more likely to produce that sound. They will more likely say cookie. If you're teaching the sign for cookie, they'll be able to request that then on their own. Some clients may have had a bad experience with other language programmings trying to produce vocalizations, especially in articulation, so sign language may be a little more appealing for those clients. Some other benefits of sign language is that it's inexpensive, there's no devices required, you don't need to spend time creating visual prompts. You also don't have to worry about prompts getting lost or destroyed because they're portable. Your hands are portable, you don't have to worry about those picture prompts getting lost. Sign language would not be appropriate for a client who's had a hard time with imitation. But one thing to consider is sign language could teach that child imitation, so it's on an individual basis, you'd have to see what's best for that learner. Also, learners who have difficulty with motor skills may find sign language to be challenging. They may have a hard time manipulating their hands, and that can also get really frustrating. Something really important to consider is who's in that child's life. Will they be able to learn sign language? The teacher, the clinician, and the family will constantly be needing to learn signs that are important to that individual. A lot of families work, have other children, so that's something really important to consider. Also, when teaching sign language, it is important to consider what's important to that client. What are they going to find motivating? What are they going to be requesting? And for example, you may teach a child to request cookie. If they find cookie motivating, they'll be more likely to produce that sign in the future. You will also want to request important requests like using the bathroom, eating, and drinking. Building upon that foundation will definitely be very important. I'm going to show you some examples. So for cookie, if you're teaching cookie, it's like this. So there's a very clear association for cookie. If the child was having a hard time, you could show a visual prompt to show that clear association. The next one is bathroom. Bathroom, this is a T for toilet, so that clear association. And you can use manual prompts to have the child imitate what you're learning. And then again, you can show that prompt. Another is eat. Again, that symbol is there, eating. and to drink. You don't have to use those picture prompts, but if you were finding that the child was having a hard time making that association, you could definitely do so. Um, when If you're choosing sign language, of course, it's important to take data, to analyze it, to make sure it's effective. Definitely something that should be considered and could be a really great tool to teach clients to make functional language. Thank you.